Greetings, welcome back to Computer Science Principles. This is Unit 1, Digital Information, Lesson 10, the end of Week 2, lossy compression, as opposed to lossless compression, which we learned last lesson. So, as a warm-up, talking about lossless versus lossy, I want you to go ahead and look at this widget real quick, watch it go through, see what it's doing. You might want to rewind, watch it again. But for your journal entry, how is this widget over here, and of course you can come click here and actually play with it, look at it, similar to the widget we used last lesson, right? How is it similar? What is it? I mean, obviously compress, I'll give that as a good way. It's still compressing it, but what's similar about it? And then how is it different, right? What is it doing? Read what it says. What is it doing, and how is that different than what you did before? So I'll go ahead and pause this, watch it do this again. You have access to the slides, come click on the slides, and figure that out. So with that, we'll move on to our actual activity for the day, which is go ahead, navigate to Code Studio, go to Lesson 10, and go to Level 2. It should look something like this. So I'm going to show you how to work on this, but essentially you're going to notice what do you notice about the quality of the image as you compress it? And what do you notice about the size? All right, so these are a couple things we're going to look at as we go to this. So I'm going to go ahead and escape out of this so we can see this. This is the program that they're working with. Basically, what you do is you have to click Run, and this is the default image. This is the original size. The sample size is 1. If we scroll over, sample size is 5. Remember, there's less times. And look at the compressed. I mean, just by changing that low, look how small it is. That's over 50% by just doing this. But you can also see that the quality is not that good. As a side note, what you're going to need to do on the next part, which I'm not going to show you, you're going to have to kind of play with yourself. You're going to get an image off the internet. If you right click, you can copy the image, and you'll need that feature to do some of the next exercises. But as you can see, we'll just keep going a little bit more one more time, and you can see how it just keeps going down, but it's starting to not really look like a bus anymore. So go ahead, answer those questions. The next widget, so that's just going on to the next one. The next widget, you actually have to bring your own photo in. So I want you to go ahead and play around with that with your own photo. And then if you have someone near you, have them guess what it is. Otherwise, you are going to need to take whatever that picture is and paste it into this so people can guess in the discussions. So either way, make a lower quality compression, and then you're going to paste it into your notes as part of your Google Slide journal entry, which will then also be part of your discussion in Canvas. So you're going to need to do this, and I showed you how to copy it. So as we're looking at this, this is the original quality. We're trying to have it for a particular purpose. So remember, lossless means there was no quality loss. Like this, you can't get this back. Once it's down here, you cannot bring this back to the original photo. Now you can have photos that have lossless because there's like all these blues in a row. So we just say all these blues is a square. But this literally said all of this is close to being white, so we're going to make it white. Again, if you remember back when we did this with the black and the white, this was a great example of kind of how that sampling concept worked. But now, there is a point where we're okay with lossy. And if you remember the video we watched with Aloe Block, where he mentioned, you can't see some of the differences. Like if we zoomed out, you might not see some of the differences. So that's something to think about with equality as well. So here's our scenario. You're sending this as a text message, but you're almost run out of data on your plan. Which one would you pick? No compression? Would you just go ahead and send the original? Would you do a little bit of compression? I mean, you can kind of see it's starting to get a little bit blurry. Medium amount? Would you send that to your friend? I mean, again, what was the point? Just to say you were here, and then a large amount of compression. So thinking about that, say it out loud, which one would you pick You're sending it to your friend. It's a friend, so you probably want decent quality, but you're almost out of data as well. So which one would you pick? All right, so scenario 2. You're at a crime scene photographer, and this is part of a crime scene photo. Which one would you pick? I think that hopefully that one's pretty obvious. Data is not an issue, so you're probably going to want the best one. This image is part of a satellite image accessing for military being used for intelligence gathering. All right, so again, I've actually seen stuff like this, so but again, I guess it is, what are you trying to do? Am I just trying to, more or less count the amount of people? Maybe this is enough. Maybe I can get a general idea of how many people are there. Maybe I need to know what this guy is carrying, and I can see it in this photo, so maybe this one's good enough. What are you trying to do? Even this is, not necessarily. I mean, if you need high quality for intelligence gathering, maybe this is it. If you're just trying to count the people, maybe you might be able to use this. And you gotta remember, satellites in space, so what are you gonna see? You're a social media manager posting for Instagram story, an event happening right now. Probably not number 4, unless you're doing the Pixel Brigade or something. I don't know. So again, which one is is 2 okay? That's because you gotta think about this. If you put stuff on the web pages and you put high quality, it takes longer to download. So how many people go to web pages and they're like, load already? Well, you gotta think about that and account too as you're looking at this. What are you trying to do? The image will be part of a collage where 100 copies will be stitched together, making a one large image. And this probably doesn't do it justice, but I think what they're going for is this one, because again, once you have 100 of these copies and then you're shrinking these down and moving them, that's kind of the concept of you probably can't see that this is a backpack anyway when you shrink this down as well. And you're a professional photographer doing a design competition, judge the color and composition. So what would you pick? And finally, you're going to go ahead and answer these questions. When is a good idea to use lossless compression? When should you use Lossy? So again, just to remind you, remember, lossless has absolutely no loss whatsoever. When is it a good time to have something like that? And we're in Lossy is, you're okay with a little bit of quality degradation, but you get a lot better compression. Right? So there's a lot better compression with Lossy. And then, think about what are the factors that making it as we look through all of those things. Lossless, little bit lossy, a lot of lossy, right? So lossless, little bit lossy, a little bit more lossy. So as you're looking through those, how does it work? And then finally, the official definition to remind you, the process reduce the number of bits needed represents something to which was lost or thrown away. The process is not reversible. So this is shrunk. When you expand it, it's not the whole thing, right? That is important. So in this case, it looks like it's just the first 2 digits and everything else got cropped out. Brings up an interesting thing if you're a useless fact of the day. If you Google XOR, literally XOR, XOR, there's interesting compression with flipping bits on, so you can just do these 2 rows, and whatever this row should tell you what these 2 rows are. Interesting concept. That is definitely for a more advanced class. But remember, lossless is the other one, was all the bits gets compressed, but then all the bits come back out because they're looking for patterns. Lossy is I don't really care. This is good enough. So with that, we'll go ahead and end there and be ready for next week. Have a good one.